When our story stopped last night, we heard about the amazing turnaround in Joseph's life. He had been sold by his brothers and became a slave, but he was so blessed by God that everything he did, even as a slave, was a success. His boss, Potiphar, trusted him with everything in his household and raised him up to the top leadership position.
The very bad thing that happened to Joseph were lies were told about him again.
Going right back out.
Joseph was accused of doing something bad, but he did not do it. Potiphar sadly believed the lies and sent Joseph to the dungeon as a prisoner.
You gotta take this stuff off.
Has anybody ever told a lie about you here?
Well, I didn't do it.
Isn't that so mean when someone tells a lie about you?
Chains. What? I didn't do it. What?
Once again, Joseph made the best of things, and he made friends in prison with two other prisoners. These two men had dreams one night, but they didn't know if their dreams had a meaning. When they asked Joseph, he said,
Only God can tell you what your dreams mean.
the one man was the cupbearer of the king. Now, some of you don't know what a cupbearer would do. A cupbearer was to take the first drink of the king's cup to make sure that no poison was put into his drink. The cupbearer's dream meant that things were going to get better for him. The other man was the king's baker, and his dream meant that things were not going to go so well for him.
Joseph told them the meaning that God had showed him. Both men's dreams came true, just as Joseph had said. Joseph asked the cupbearer, "Remember me, please," so he wouldn't be stuck in prison forever. But guess what? The cupbearer forgot about him for 2 whole years. Has anybody in here ever felt
Chief
forgotten?
Courteous, remember me.
We heard that Pharaoh was on his way.
People of Egypt, I am the great king. I am the great Pharaoh. But this morning, I woke up very sad because I had a very strange dream. Let me share it with you. I dreamt that there were 7 healthy cows. They were beautiful. And then all of a sudden, my dream changed, and there were 7 skinny cows. They were all shriveled up. They were horrible. They looked half dead. I felt sad for these cows. And then I fell back to sleep again, a little deeper sleep, and all of a sudden I imagined in my dream 7 healthy heads of grain. They looked delicious. And then all of a sudden, there were 7 unhealthy, shriveled up heads of grain. I have no idea what that means. Cupbearer, please give me a drink. Is there anyone who can tell me what this dream means? Anyone in all of Egypt?
Pharaoh, I think I know someone that might be able to. I met him in prison, and he told me about my dreams and what they meant, and it came true. His name...
You got to remember.
It was Joseph. Yes, it was Joseph.
Joseph. Joseph. All right. Attendant, please find this Joseph. Bring him to me as soon as possible.
The guard of Pharaoh went to the prison and got Joseph. They made sure he was cleaned up and presentable before going in front of the great
Where are we
Pharaoh.
going? Oh,
You are Joseph?
yes.
Rise. I hear good things about you. I had this dream that it was the weirdest, strangest dream. And I understand that you can interpret dreams. I need you to do that for me as soon as possible.
I cannot do it, but God can.
God gave Joseph the ability to explain everything that Pharaoh had dreamt. Joseph explained that there would be 7 years with lots of food and plenty of everything.
Okay.
But then there would be 7 years of famine and not enough to eat in all the country. His warning was to build storage houses to save the grain for the hungry years.
Now let me see. I'm making a decision here. The only person who I feel could do this successfully is you, Joseph. Yes, Joseph, I'm going to put you in charge. I hereby put you in charge of all of Egypt.
Okay. I can
So
do that.
Pharaoh sent
Now the
Joseph.
attendants will take you and they'll give you royal clothing.
Pharaoh sent
Come back to
Joseph
me.
to be prepared to get his royal clothes. Pharaoh had great confidence and respect in Joseph. A lot has happened in this story. Maybe you can review to the young what has happened so far.
So, in the beginning of this story, Joseph was given a coat by his father because Joseph was his father's favorite. His brothers were jealous. They threw him into a pit. They made believe, they told lies to his father that he had died by getting attacked by an animal. He was sold to a caravan. He was sold as a slave to Potiphar, and he had risen to be in charge of many things. Now, tonight, you have seen what has been happening.
Pharaoh took from his finger a ring that he used to give his official stamp with,
There you go.
gave it to Joseph.
Very good. Wear it well.
He had special royal clothing and a very special gold chain that he placed around his neck.
And here is the royal scepter. And in a moment, we'll review the scroll. But right now, I want to say, make way for Joseph. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joseph. He's 30 years old, and I couldn't be more proud than to put him in charge of all of Egypt. I will make him the most powerful man in this country. Well, except for me, of course. This is Joseph. Do whatever he tells you to do.
I carefully opened up the storehouses during those hard years. Hunger that crushed the nations around us didn't crush Egypt. Our people ate, and there was even grain left over to sell. I kept asking God what to do, and He kept helping me every step of the way. I have come to learn that whatever I am doing, whatever it is, I am serving God.
Pharaoh also made sure that Joseph had a very good wife, and before long, they had 2 sons of their own. Everything happened just as God had said. Remember, there were 7 good years, and then 7 very bad years. There was no food left in the land or the countries near their land.
People were coming from all the countries to get grain from Joseph and the storage houses in Egypt. Guess who came to Egypt to get grain so they would not die? Joseph's brothers.
Wow. Joseph's brothers? Joseph's brothers, the ones who threw him into the pit? Now they're hungry They have no food. They're living in Canaan where the famine is and they have nothing to eat. And they come to Egypt. They don't know if their brother is even alive. They definitely don't know